This is sort of the end stage of the spring semester as people are moving into exams, and certainly the end of a very strange semester and very strange 15 months or so as we've all dealt with the pandemic. We've faced a lot of challenges in adapting to online modes of teaching and learning and online modes of interaction. And I think we've all very badly missed the ability to interact with each other, not just in the classroom, but in the hallway and around the building and so on and so forth. And I very much hope that in the fall, we'll be back to something much more normal. Certainly all signs are pointing that way. So I'm feeling very optimistic that after this long period of social isolation, that we'll be back to much more regular interaction. Perhaps we'll be still wearing masks. We might not be shaking hands, but I do hope that we'll be back in the building, in the classroom, in the lab, and so on and so forth. But despite a difficult year, our students and faculty have accomplished a lot of really great things, and we want to recognize those with our end of year awards. So first we'll start with some undergraduate awards, and we'll begin with the teaching awards. And we have a number of people that we want to congratulate. The first is Sky Chen, who was honored by Professor Todd DeLong for contributions to CS 2330, which is the digital logic design course. And recognizing tremendous amounts of effort in grading office hours, checking in with students, and really looking after the students' emotional and mental well-being, as of course also their educational progress. So congratulations, Sky. Next, Michael Ferguson, who received a number of nominations for his work on CS 1501, creating a new course from scratch that was meant to basically be a student-led course to expose students from any point in their career, didn't necessarily have to be CS majors, to artificial general intelligence. And Michael was nominated by Rich Nguyen. And so he taught 30 students on the intersection of computer science, cognitive science, and philosophy. So congratulations, Michael. Madison Flynn was nominated by Erin Bloomfield for her work in CS 2150. Professor Bloomfield writes that she was amazing working with students during office hours, as well as helping him coordinate the class and helping deal with a number of special cases that came up with assignments and so on. And she also did a lot of background work to help improve the structure of the class and write computer systems to streamline some of the work in managing the class. And Professor Bloomfield writes that he would not have been able to run CS 2150 this semester without her. So congratulations and thank you, Madison. Next, Ibrahim Hamdy was nominated by a fellow student for his work in CS 1501 in teaching a variety of subfields of computer science and providing thorough background on various key ideas that they would learn later in much greater depth. And then Professor Brunel adds that he performed admirably at the very challenging task of inventing and running a new course, and applauds Ibrahim's passion about computer science and ability to convey that to other students. So thank you and congratulations, Ibrahim. Next, Anne Hoang was nominated for her work on CS 1112 and her amazing work ethic, kindness, and patience with the students. And remember that CS 1112 is a course teaching CS1 material for students who have zero background, no prior experience in programming. And so, helping students come up to speed quickly in this topic area is a really great contribution. And the nominator writes that Anne is not afraid to change course traditions, such as restructuring TA-led exam reviews and so on. So thank you, Anne. Next, Prithvi Kinariwala was nominated again by Professor DeLong for 2330. And Prithvi worked with another student as a team to oversee the learning communities that 2330 set up, consisting of about 25 students each. And with similar comments, not only did they oversee grading and hold office hours, but met with the group as a whole each week just to check in to see how the students were doing, mentally and emotionally, as well as with the actual course material. So thank you, Prithvi. Grant was nominated by a student and also by Professor Florian for his work in CS 4102, just for his incredible dedication to the students' learning, holding spontaneous review sessions, putting in extra time on grading, staying up late to help students with questions, all kinds of activities to help students succeed in 4102. So congratulations, Grant. Joey Rudek was nominated for his work in CS 3102 and also CS 3330 by Professor Venkot and also from a graduate student, Sheeta Ren, commending him for his, again, for his passion and hard work and going way beyond, the typical amount of time that's dedicated, spending a lot of his extra time helping students succeed in the class, as well as working with students to manage their anxiety and help the class de-stress. So Joey, thank you for everything that you did. Professor Florian and a number of students nominated Helen Shi for her work in the game design and the AI courses. Lengthy notes that I was provided, but to try to summarize, she just did a huge amount of work to support the students, holding review sessions on her own, spontaneously, kind of anticipating what the students would need and reaching out to help support them, and spending a lot of time answering questions and supporting students throughout the course. So thank you, Helen, for everything that you did. Next, we have Karim Shurbaji, nominated again by Professor DeLong for his work, again with CS 2330, overseeing grading and office hours, meeting with small groups of students, and checking in on the students' mental and emotional well-being, as well as their course progress. So thank you, Karim. And Jonah was nominated by Professor Brunel for his work TAing in CS 3102, and in particular for the way that he was incredibly responsive to student needs, giving thoughtful feedback to the students, being an effective communicator, and as Professor Florian writes, just adored by the students for his dedication to their learning. And then Professor Brunel. And Professor Brunel also writes that the semester would not have gone nearly as smoothly if not for Jonah and his extensive efforts and wisdom. So thank you, Jonah. And then our last nomination here for the Undergraduate Teaching Awards to Alanna Zoscak. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. But her relentless, so she was nominated for both CS 2330 by Professor DeLong and then by a student for CS 4774. So in 2330, again, Alanna was part of the team of TAs that supported these learning communities of about 25 students and managed the grading and office hours, as well as checking in on the students' well-being. And then by a student for 4774, and the level of her relentless efforts in helping students succeed and understand course concepts, material, and assignments, and the way that she went out of her way to support the students' learning. So thank you and congratulations, Alanna. So now we move on to the service awards. for our undergraduates. And we have 6 students who were given awards. Zachary Goldstein was nominated for his service and representation on the CS Undergraduate Curriculum Committee. The CS UGCC had a tremendous amount of work this year, and Zachary put in a lot of time helping represent the student perspective to the Undergraduate Curriculum Committee. So thank you, Zachary. Oops. William Mays was a leader in the high school programming contest effort that our department and our students support, and it's a wonderful service to high school students. It's also actually, frankly, a great recruiting tool, I'm told by the admissions office, in getting students interested in UVA. And so William was responsible for setting up a judging system for the 17 teams this year from various high schools and helping coordinate the competition. So thank you for all the work that went into that, William. Kelvin Peng was nominated for his numerous contributions to the ACM student chapter at UVA, including serving as the director of the HSPC and helping compose a bunch of different problems for the programming contest. So thank you for your service and all your activities, Kelvin. Daniel Prohaska is part of the trio that was responsible for the high school programming contest this year. And he's also president of the ACM chapter at UVA, which is a considerable workload and service to the students. And so I want to thank Daniel for everything that you've done for the students here and for the program here at UVA. Autumn Routt is a CS minor who dedicated an extensive amount of time outside of class toward a cause that she cares deeply about, which is theater that is accessible. As a thespian since she was a child, Autumn decided to join several UVA theater organizations and is now an executive board member of the Accessible Theater Project, a CIO dedicated to making performances enjoyable to individuals who are otherwise inhibited by disabilities, including mental health. And so not only has she gone above and beyond with her efforts to make her own shows accessible, she actively recruits other theater enthusiasts to her very noble and valuable cause. So thank you and congratulations, Autumn, on all the work that you've done. This is a great example of going beyond the program itself and looking at broader applications to make the world a better place. And then our sixth service award winner is Neil Singh for his service and positive interactions with CS staff and support for TAing over the last year. So congratulations to all of our service award winners. And now we come to the undergraduate research awards. And we have 6 of these as well. So Ethan Blaser was nominated by Professor Hoang Wang, who did research on network embedding and made considerable contributions. And Professor Wang praises Ethan on his outstanding research contributions. So congratulations, Ethan. Henry Carscadden was nominated by Professor Madhav Marathe. His distinguished major project developed techniques for blocking. So this is in the context of epidemiology modeling. His project developed techniques for blocking the propagation of 2 types of contagions over a social network. And this, of course, helps with managing public health, such as COVID, and preventing its spread in a geographic region. And so his contributions here have very immediately relatable applications and contribute to our understanding of how contagions spread and how they can be blocked through public health interventions. He's also been actively participating in the design and implementation of 2 software subsystems that are part of the net.science cyber infrastructure being developed at the Biocomplexity Institute here at UVA, funded by NSF. So congratulations, Henry. Sonali Luthar was nominated by Madhur Bell, who has been leading a research effort on something that they call the Internet of Wasted Things. So she has developed an automated system that can detect and track waste items as they're disposed into a bin location. And the system can provide visual cues in the form of an LED light signal to the person approaching the bins and guide them as to which bin to use to correctly dispose of an item and do this in real time. So as she continues her research into her 4th year as a CS undergraduate as a capstone project, she's already made remarkable progress in research contributions, including submitting a first author research paper to a top computer science conference. And she's now, extending her work into a collaboration with the School of Medicine to use some of this research for detecting and auditing surgical waste in operating rooms. So congratulations, Sonali. Jack Prescott was nominated for completing a significant project proving novel results in adversarial robust learning, and had his research accepted into the ICLR 2021 conference that would have been in Vienna. I assume that it was probably virtual, depriving Jack of the chance to visit Vienna for this conference. Jack did this work with Professor David Evans and PhD student Xiao Zhang, and was able to contribute significant new results in this very important space, in which, for those who aren't familiar with adversarial robust learning, the challenge is to prevent the machine learning from being defeated by detecting inputs that can basically trick the learned model. So congratulations, Jack. Lindsey Shavers was nominated by Professor Vicente Ordóñez. She's been advocating somewhat related issue pertaining to machine learning. She's been advocating for accountable and fair machine learning models for recommendation systems. She led a presentation at the local chapter of the National Society for Black Engineers in 2018 about the biases encoded in content recommendation systems and social media platforms. And with Professor Ordóñez, she did research on analyzing various data sets for facial recognition and led another presentation in 2019 at the local TEDx UVA event. She also developed a public-facing demo that demonstrates the gender biases that can appear in visual recognition models. So congratulations on this important work, Lindsey. And our 6th nominee is Zachary Yahn, who did work in Professor Samira Khan's research group, the Shift Lab, on developing a novel algorithm for simultaneous localization and mapping for swarms of nanodrones that are trying to coordinate their movements. And in addition to that, Zachary served as the team lead for UVA's NASA Big Ideas Challenge team, which submitted a research proposal to NASA for silver nanowire and laser ablation lunar dust mitigation techniques. And in addition to that, with a partner, took first place in an adversarial AI and machine learning challenge to address deepfakes. So congratulations, Zachary. And congratulations to all 6 of our research award winners for their innovative work on advancing the state of the art in computer science. So that brings us to the end of our undergraduate awards. I'd like to congratulate all these students on their contributions to teaching, service, research, and the overall state of our department and the field as a whole. So congratulations, everybody. So now we move on to the awards for graduate students, starting again with teaching awards. And we have 3 nominations for graduate TA, for graduate TAs. The first goes to Ashikur Rahman Azim for his work in CS 4501 with Professor Seong-Kook Hyo, who nominated him. This is one of our special topics courses. In particular, this one was Engineering Interactive Technologies, and he TA'd for this for 2 semesters. And for those who can hear the background noise, I apologize. My neighbor's weed whacking right outside my window. But Ashik managed a number of hands-on labs and projects and was able to adapt this course to be able to work effectively despite the restrictions of the pandemic, and moved various labs online and created skeleton code and tutorials for students to use their phones as a sensing platform. So he's made numerous contributions in this course, and we all thank him and congratulate him for this award. Jibang Wu was nominated for his contributions to CS 6161 and 6501, a theory course and a special topics course. And so he helped design homework problems, held review sessions, and spent a tremendous amount of effort supporting both the students in the courses as well as helping the professors for these courses manage the operation and structure of the course. So congratulations, Jibang. And then our third teaching award recipient is Fan Yao for the same CS 61 course as well as 6505, nominated by Haifeng Shu as well as a number of student nominations. And so he renovated the course topics and materials for this course and created a new set of assignments and contributed to the administration and organization of the assignments, answering student questions, and was extremely helpful to the students and to Professor Shu. So congratulations, Fan, and congratulations to all 3 of our teaching award winners for their support for our students and our faculty. We have 2 service award winners. Our first recipient is Yasunari Kato. He was nominated for his work for the overall graduate program. As the nominator writes, he's been incredibly active, attending all of our CS graduate student group steering committee meetings, being the life and spirit of online meetings and organizing meetups and helping facilitate people getting vaccinated. And he is participating in the diversity initiative within the department, but he's really taken on a much larger administrative and support role in the graduate program. So thank you and congratulations, Yasunari. And our second recipient is Shida Red, who's done outstanding work as part of the CSGSG steering committee as well, and also in serving on one of our faculty search committees, which is a tremendous amount of work, and generally in being a spokesperson for the graduate student body. So thank you, Shida, and thank you to both of our graduate student service award winners. They put a lot of heart and soul into the health of our graduate program. And I'm sure that all of our graduate students appreciate that, and I know that the faculty certainly do as well. And then we have 3 research award winners. This graduate research award is named for Professor Jack Stankovic, who many of you know. This award was created and named for Professor Stankovic on the occasion of his 70th birthday, in gratitude by his many PhD advisees who've graduated and gone on to successful careers, and wanted to express their thanks for Professor Stankovic's mentorship, both as PhD students and afterwards in their careers. So our first Stankovic Award winner is Mengdi Huai, who was nominated by Professor Aidong Zhang. Mengdi's research interests are in the general area of data mining and machine learning, with an emphasis on model transparency, security, privacy, and algorithm design. She developed several interpretation methods to enable model transparency and predictive models. And she made a series of key contributions toward the goal of building secure and privacy-preserving learning systems. as well as developing several mechanisms to analyze the vulnerabilities of intelligent learning systems in the presence of malicious attacks, and proposed several effective mechanisms for combating these. So congratulations, Mengdi. Marzieh Lenjani, I actually nominated myself. She's a PhD student in my group, and her research focuses on tightly coupling processing and data to address the problem that in data-intensive tasks, current architectures, which we call phenomenon architectures, spend more time and energy moving data around than actually doing computing. And so her approach has been to integrate the processing capability much closer to the data, perhaps even directly in the DRAM chip. And she published her first paper on this work this past year, and has also been playing a key role in supporting several other research projects in my group, which led to additional publications in 2020. And she's become kind of the senior student in my research group, providing mentoring and leadership and helping students learn research methods. And she has just submitted another paper on the next stage of her work, which I certainly hope will be accepted. But she's done outstanding work, and so congratulations, Marzieh. And our third recipient is Tianlu Wang, nominated by Professor Vicente Ordonez. He writes that she's led a 5-year streak in helping Professor Ordonez build a research portfolio in the area of bias in visual recognition and machine learning. And this work has attracted international prominence with an incredible number of citations, over 800 citations in the past few years. She's been independently advising students in Professor Ordonez's group, another great example of a senior student taking on leadership and mentoring roles, as well as contributing to some of the proposals that Professor Ordonez has written. And this has landed her internships at top places such as the Google Brain Project and Facebook's FAIR research group, Fairness in AI Research. And she's an emerging leader in research in this area, and so we congratulate her on her contributions. So this brings us to the end of the student awards administered by the department. So let's first of all congratulate our STANKOVIC Research Award winners and all of our graduate students for their contributions, and all of our students overall for the many things that they've accomplished this past year. So next, every year in the awards ceremony, I like to highlight some faculty accomplishments and awards over the past year. And we start with the ACM Professor of the Year Award. And here I'll turn the floor over for this award to Daniel Prohaska, who's the president of the ACM. And Daniel, tell me when you're ready for me to advance the slide.
Sure thing, I'll let you know. So every year we poll the student body to determine who is the Professor of the Year. And so here are a few quotes that students had about our winner. They're always so excited about the material. Their passion is contagious. I appreciate their ability to connect with students on a personal level. They care immensely about their students and their educational journey. This year's recipient is, drumroll, Professor Mark Sheriff. Ding, ding. And there are a couple more quotes on here. Congratulations, and thank you for your hard work and dedication. This year, ACM is also introducing something a little bit new that we're calling the Rising Star Award. And this award is given to the highest voted non-tenured professor. So here are a few quotes that students had about this professor. They really want students to learn and ask questions and want us to succeed. I appreciate how much they care about their students. They foster a welcoming environment in which students feel respected. Even in this tough Zoom class time, they were always smiling. And this year's recipient is, drumroll, Professor Upsorn Prafamatrapong.
There we go.
And there are a couple more quotes as well. Congratulations, and thank you very much for your dedication. Thank you both, thank you all.
Thank you, Daniel.
And just thank you to all the professors, even if you didn't get an award. I'll just say that it's been an incredible year, and all of you really do make our lives that much better as students. So Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Congratulations to Mark Sheriff and Upsorn Prafamandrapong. I know they are worked incredibly hard and incredibly dedicated. And I want to echo what Daniel said. I know all of the faculty and all of the teaching assistants have been incredibly passionate about trying to make this year as good a year as possible, despite the constraints of the pandemic and online instruction. And so, I join Daniel in thanking all of the faculty and the TAs for their efforts. Several other faculty recognitions that are important to acknowledge. Professor Dwyer was recently elevated to an endowed professorship, the Robert Thompson Distinguished Professor of Engineering and Applied Science. And this recognizes Professor Dwyer's many years of contributions in automated validation and verification of software systems. Professor Mary Lou Sofa received the School of Engineering's Distinguished Faculty Award for her many, many years of excellence in teaching, research, and service. And I want to add here that Professor Sofa has an extraordinary track record. I mean, really unmatched, I think, in many ways, of helping mentor PhD students to faculty careers, in particular, helping involve women in CS research and elevating them to faculty careers and helping boost the gender diversity of the CS community of the faculty as a whole. And Professor Stankovic was recognized as the recipient of the university's Research Mentor Award. Professor Stankovic was nominated by several of the assistant professors in our department for his dedicated and extraordinary efforts to help others succeed in their research careers. And as I mentioned earlier, he has an incredible track record as well of mentoring PhD students and helping them go on to career successes, and has an astonishing number of PhD students who are now in faculty careers. We also had 3 faculty win NSF Career Awards. This is a special program the National Science Foundation runs for faculty who are assistant professors, giving them major grants to help really take their research to the next level. And we had 3 faculty win career awards this year: Professor Bell, Professor Khan, and Professor Routt, and you can see the titles here. These are incredibly competitive awards. We call them awards. They're research grants that also have this award nature because they recognize some of the rising stars in the research field. So congratulations to all of these recipients. Professor Elbaum was elevated to IEEE Fellow this year in recognition for his contributions of testing techniques for evolving systems. Fellow status in a professional society is a recognition of outstanding contributions, and typically only 0.5 to 1% of the society's members reach fellow status. Professor Volocante was recognized by ACM as distinguished member, and so this is one of their advanced member grades, one step below fellow, and because ACM has actually multiple advanced member grades, this is an extremely competitive member grade, and he was nominated for his contributions to computational epidemiology. And I want to congratulate him on his contributions, and I'm sure he'll be reaching fellow status in just a few years. And then Professor Aidong Zhang was elevated to fellow of the AIMBE, the Biomedical Engineering Society, for her pioneering contributions to bioinformatics and computational biology. So please join me in congratulating these faculty on these recognitions of their many years of research contributions. Professor Dwyer also received an Impact Paper Award. This is basically a test of time award, recognizing work that has had a sustained impact on the research community or on practice over many years. And he and his colleagues were recognized for this particular paper that was in the International Conference on Software Engineering a little over 20 years ago for enabling widespread use of temporal logic for program verification. And Professor Venkat had a paper recognized as a top pick in hardware and embedded security. It was selected among hardware security conference papers that have had outstanding impact. And this paper, published together with a colleague at UCSD, was published 2 years ago, and is part of a group of work that he's done on trying to address the potential side channel security leaks from speculative execution in microprocessors. And you might have seen some recent news just in the last couple of weeks about a new vulnerability that Professor Venkat and his research group discovered. And then Jack STANKOVIC literally just was notified this week that he is receiving one of the very first, this is the first year, Real-Time Systems Community Test of Time Awards for his paper on misconceptions about real-time computing that was published about a little over 30 years ago. And Professor STANKOVIC in many ways is known as the father of real-time systems for his pioneering contributions in this area. So please join me in congratulating all of these winners for these really special paper awards. And Yuan Tian just received a Google Research Scholar Award together with a colleague from UC Santa Barbara. And these are extremely competitive awards, and only, I think, 3 or 4 awards nationwide among all the faculty competing for this received awards in this security category. So some additional student accomplishments and awards that I'd like to highlight. Start with Clara Na, who was selected for an NSF Graduate Research Fellowship. These fellowships fund graduate study, the full duration of PhD study, completely funded so that she doesn't have to worry about a PhD advisor's funding availability. And this is an extremely competitive program. So this is a real honor to receive one of these. Vivian Chen and Chenghan Zhao both received honorable mentions in the CRA Outstanding Undergraduate Researcher competition. A huge number, typically 4 undergraduates, are nominated by every university, and only 2 are selected as the actual recipients, and the others receive honorable mentions. And another small set who are finalists receive honorable mention. So honorable mention is an extremely competitive recognition, recognizing outstanding undergraduate research. And so please join me in congratulating these students on their research contributions. And also, we want to honor Diana Dominova and Connie Zhang's work on forming a new UVA Women in Cybersecurity chapter. This is a new organization, and they led the creation of this. And this is a real great opportunity for our undergraduate students, the women who are interested in computing and cybersecurity. And so I want to thank them for their efforts to make this possible. And then we had 2 teams in the ACM Intercollegiate Programming Contest move on to the next stage of the competition. And you see the 2 teams here. This is an extremely competitive competition. There were several other teams that placed very well. But since only 2 teams from each university can advance, this is sort of a challenge for UVA because we have so many teams that do well. But please join me in congratulating these 2 teams as well as the other teams that placed well and were deprived of the opportunity to move on despite their accomplishments. And then we had a team, Ahmed and Zachary, who, as I mentioned, won this prize in the Innovative Discovery Science Platform AI Machine Learning Challenge. Winston Chen, Lin Chen, Kenneth Wan, and their advisor Jack STANKOVIC also received an award for the best demo at the Census conference for their demo on a smartwatch product that provides on-body recognition of tapping gestures. And then a team advised by Lu Feng and Sula Mazimba of 3 students, Josie Lamp, Yixin Wu, and Stephen Lamp, were winners of the NHLBI Big Data Analysis Challenge for analyzing heart failure data for their project on intelligently characterizing patient hemodynamic phenotypes for advanced heart failure. And so please join me in congratulating all these students on their many varied contributions and accomplishments. And we'd like to recognize Mei Ma, who will be going on, one of our PhD students who will be going on to join Vanderbilt's EECS department as an assistant professor. And I think that is our last slide. So please join me in congratulating Mei and wishing her well in the next stage of her career. And I want to thank all the students and all the faculty for a great year despite the challenges of the pandemic, and congratulate all of the award winners on their contributions and on their service to the department and to the student body. Thanks everyone, and congratulations. So I think that